Braxcast time once again. This is the 101st episode of the Braxcast, and the Ice Queen is back. So we've got Yaira, Frost, and Ruin. It launched as a pre-order this week. It's written by Eric July and Carol Brown with art by Will Conrad. The book will release on the 24th of July 2026. And the cutoff for the pre-orders is the 22nd of May 26. So the free limited covers and the CGC covers are all at that time in May 22nd. But you'll be able to get the mass print cover in perpetuity. And this is part of the new pre-order solicitation where the books are just released with a definite cutoff date and basically no merchandise options. It's just the books. So the 4 covers, and you can get the CGCs as well. There's plenty of Yaira merch to buy. Of course, you can also get a Yaira statue, but multiple Yaira shirts, I believe multiple Yaira hats. So if you want to get some Yaira merch, you can go to the store and buy some. But this is just the 56-page book that is written by Eric July and Carol Brown with art by Will Conrad. So of course, Will Conrad did the art for all the Dokumon cards, and he also did the art of Gooding the Polymath, so it's really cool to see him get some interior work again. But the really exciting thing is that this is handing off a character that's been worked on by one team, that being the Sasuke sisters writing and Deborah Kurita as the artist, to a different creative team. This is something that's apparently going to happen in the future. The implication in Eric July's video is that the Sasukas will be taking on a character that is traditionally by somebody else. So they might be working on like an Isom book. They might be working on an Alpha Core book. Who knows what is in the pipeline? Only those who have access to the NDAs know. But it's really exciting stuff that you're going to see the same character handled by different creative teams, and to see the differences in that is going to be really, really exciting. So this is, like I said, a 56-page book. It is taking place after the events of Yaira number 3. Going to have apparently an alliance that Yaira is going to have to form. She's going to have to deal with the loss of her powers. This is very similar to Isom number 3, where Isom was weakened and then he basically had to get his mojo back. So Yaira's in the same situation. Of course, Yaira number 3 had a really explosive, exciting ending. So to see a book that goes into those events and gives us a bit more, a bit of a teaser before we get into Yaira number 4 is definitely going to be very, very welcome. So I'm going to be really excited to see what Yaira, Frost, and Ruin does and how the Sasukas run with that in Yaira number 4. But I definitely want to show off the cover. Showing off the covers. The A cover is by BTG, of course. BTG having done some cover work for, I believe, both Saoirse and Salvage. Fantastic looking cover. Of course, you've got all of the assets on display. Absolutely love that Frost and Ruin tagline there. And then that Yaira logo is looking quite nice. So cover B, this is by Deborah Kurita, who I mentioned is the artist for the mainline Yaira series. So she does have a cover here. The colors are by Guilherme Lindenberg Mendez, however you pronounce it. Sorry for butchering the name. Of course, you've got like this Atlantis backdrop, Yaira and her using her ice powers, and of course she's in that costume that the fans love so much that was revealed to us at the end of Yaira number 1. But this is a fantastic cover. Really glad that Deborah got to do a cover for this book, even if she isn't the artist on it. But Will Conrad is definitely going to do a fantastic job with Yaira. I have the Yaira poster. It's an absolutely fantastic piece of work. That's the first thing he drew of Yaira, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park. So I got no doubt he's going to be doing a fantastic job on the interior for Yaira, or the interior artwork for Yaira. Of course, we've got the C cover. So this is the Virgin cover. It's also getting that foiled and embossed treatment. And it's by Laura Kings. This has got a very, I'd say, definitely a bit more stylized, a bit closer to something you'd see in like a good anime, in my opinion. This is, of course, Virgin cover, so you're not going to have anything here. No retro cover, so I think that's also a a standing theme with all these pre-order books that we don't seem to be having a lot of retro covers, which is, I think, a bit of a missed opportunity. But these are all fantastic covers nonetheless. I do always love these version covers, especially when you've got this like really nice pinup shot. And of course, Yaira is definitely very easy to like have these like covers like this where she just takes center stage and be very like alluring and definitely draws you in as the viewer. Of course, I always just love the ice powers. Of course, she's got the popsicle as well. It's just like, it's such a great cover. I absolutely love it. So it's going to be really nice to see that foiled and embossed cover. And of course, cover D is the mass print cover. This is done by Jack Herbert with art, with color work by Jay Brown, who I interviewed a little bit ago, a couple months ago at this point. Fantastic. Loved having him on. Very, very talented man. He's been in the industry since like the 80s, back when he didn't color with computers. He did it by hand. So he definitely brings that talent to this cover. Of course, you've got like the ice powers there. Jack Herbert is just such a fantastic artist. He's, of course, the artist for the Great War of Separation, and he absolutely knocks that out of the park. He is just such a talented artist. You can check out my Art of Jack Herbert video I did, where I did an episode of Braxcast going over the art of Jack Herbert, and you just see like the amount of talent and passion he puts into every single page of that book, and he definitely is full on display there for that cover. So those are all the covers for Yaira, Frost, and Ruin, and it is really, really exciting, like I said, to see the Rippaverse hand off characters between creative teams. And of course, this means that the Saskas and Deborah Kurita can, of course, work on the Yaira main series while we're also getting more Yaira. Of course, her campaign made about like $1.5 million or so. Don't have the exact number in my head, but it was a very successful campaign. It was, I believe, the last campaign. It was the fourth campaign of the 4 big 75-day campaigns. You have the first 2 Isom books, Alpha Core and then Yaira. And Yaira made a little bit more money than Alpha Core. They all made over $1 million, and Yaira really got to like that $1 million mark in like 23 hours or so. It was an absolutely insane event. Of course, it had that live action trailer. So the fact that we can get more Yaira because they're willing to have Yaira be written by Eric July and Carol Brown and Will Conrad doing the interior art, rather than saying Yaira can only be done by the Saska sisters and Deborah Kurita. I think that would be a very, restrictive mindset to have. And I think this mindset is a really good one. It's going to be really, really exciting to see who is going to get more books. And like I will iterate, I think there should be a Young Isom series with Jack Herbert, especially. I can show off the cover that Jack Herbert did. He's a fantastic artist. He did draw a Young Isom. He read Great War Separation #2. You can see him drawing. You can see Young Isom's appearance. Drawn by Jack Herbert. So I think Jack Herbert doing a Young Isom series where I think Eric July would be very good at writing that, but he can give another writer that opportunity and let Eric July write other things. I would not mind that at all. But a Young Isom series would be like a really cool thing to slot and have a different creative team do that. But I would say Jack Herbert should be the one who's tapped for doing that Young Isom series. And I will always be iterating that. But that is basically the, I think, main takeaway here, other than the fact that Frost and Ruin is going to be a really fun book. Can't wait to read it in the summer. Definitely going to help cool us off. It's going to be like very early in the summer, a couple days after. But anyway, it's going to help us cool off as the summer heat comes in. Of course, if you're in a region of the country like I am, being warm is the last thing on your mind, right? But anyways, being cold is definitely on your mind. So this Yaira launch is very, very, very aptly placed. But main takeaway here, like I said, other than that, to not get too off track, is the fact that other characters being done by teams that are not the creative teams for their mainline series. So they're being Alpha Core books, not by Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett. They're being, you could have like a Zalen book. Well, Zalen's on a series, but you could have like Horseman, not by Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett. I'm thinking, Isom. So there is, a good bit, but like Eric July is writing a lot, so you could have like more salvage, not written by Eric July. Maybe it's Bart Sears, those are for salvage, but who knows? There's just so much where you can say, hey, any character can go to any creative team, just as long as the script works and the artist is turning in good pages. Definitely a fantastic mindset to have. Really excited to see where that takes the Rippaverse. And of course, when you've got this new pre-order format where you're just releasing the books, getting them out. The plan is to release like 100 books between Rippaverse and Rippasense. So there's just going to be so much content to cover. So you guys better subscribe to Braxcast and follow me. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get all the covers and show them off, but I'll at least be able to print them out or put them on screen and show them off to you guys, because this is going to get, it's very quickly getting economically infeasible for me. So if you guys want to support Yellow Room Publishing and help me feed my Rippaverse addiction. If not, I still appreciate you watching all the same. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Joker is
Thank
out.
you for tuning in to the Braxcast. Be sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe to keep up with the Rippaverse.